Hello there, and in this video I'm going to be giving you my first impressions of Outriders. I've been playing the demo and yeah, I've had a blast with it literally. It is a sci-fi shooter, it's a looter shooter, it is third person, it's cover based. Think of games like The Division, Destiny, Anthem, Borderlands even maybe. You have different classes that you can use, and you can synergize between those different classes. So you can play with other people, you can matchmake, you can play with your friends, and that's where I think the real fun is in this game. It's using all the different abilities for the different classes and using them together with a group of friends to take down hordes of enemies and bosses. There's world tiers as well, so as you level up and get more powerful, you get more weapons, you get better guns. The world tier increases. Basically that means that the enemies become stronger and more challenging to fight. So you might think, well, what's the point of leveling up if all the enemies level up as well, basically? Well, this game is all about using those new abilities and new weapons and just having fun and having like the challenge of taking on these tougher and tougher enemies. And of course it's a looter shooter, so it's all about the loot, and when you go into higher tier worlds, then you're going to get the chance of getting better weapons. So that's the real draw to this game. It's the same with any looter shooter. You know, if you play Destiny or you play The Division, you know the score. You play the same missions over and over again and hoping that bit of armor or that weapon you're chasing is going to drop for you. So you know whether or not you're into this type of game. If you find that sort of random drops to just be frustrating and annoying, this is probably not for you. You can play solo for sure, and I did play solo a lot of the demo. I'm not really a cover-based shooter kind of person. If you are into cover-based shooters, you like that sort of mechanic where you can press a button and get into cover and get out of cover. You know, if you enjoy games like Gears of War or The Division, you know exactly what to expect. Actually, I think this is like a sci-fi version of The Division. I think that's probably the closest analogy. But it has like the superpowers of, say, like Destiny or Anthem. I think that's the real crux of this game. It's whether or not you're into cover-based shooters or you prefer run and gun. And the movement speed is very good. I like the rolling. The rolling's a good speed as well. That's one thing about The Division. When you rolled, it felt like you was rolling through treacle. It's so slow. I feel that if you're playing with other people, cover-based shooters can actually be better. They are more tactical and you can work together, you know, flanking enemies. I mean, run and gun games when you're playing multiplayer can be a bit chaotic. If you really enjoyed the cover-based shooting, say Gears of War or The Division, then I think you're going to love this game. Now, there is a prologue to the game where they really introduce you to the characters and the story and the lore. Earth has all been ruined and there's a big war on Earth and famine, and so humanity's left to find a new world. And so they found this new world, and basically we're doing the same thing with the new world as we did with our own planet, and we're messing it all up. There's war and everything. But in the prologue, that's when you first land, it's a lovely looking planet. It looks really nice, and it's nice colour palettes and rocky mountains. It did look like Earth though. It didn't really look like an alien world when you first land. It's just like Earth, just trees just like you find on Earth. So I thought that was a bit weird. I thought it was going to be a bit more exotic looking. But later on in sort of the introductory part, it did look a bit more alien-like. But then there's a point in the demo where you go back to sleep to cryo and you wake up and there's a war going on, and the valley that you landed in, you can't leave it because of this storm. This is weird alien storms that are killing people, so you're kind of stuck in this valley, and it's all been destroyed by war, and so it all looks really brown and drab. I actually found that the prologue, the start of the game, looked a lot more colourful, a nicer place to hang out and just play a game, whereas later on it all looks a bit drab. The graphics are still good, like, don't get me wrong, this is an Unreal Engine game and they do a good job with it. The levels aren't that expansive. I didn't feel that it felt as open as something like The Division or Destiny. It definitely feels like the levels or the missions you go on are more linear, it kind of funnels you along, and the levels are definitely designed all around the cover-based shooting. Like, there's cover everywhere. But I think People Can Fly have done a great job with it. I mean, this is really ambitious. I've never played a People Can Fly game before, but the developer obviously has great ambitions, and they really are making a game that's got a lot of depth to it, and I think they are trying to compete with the big boys, you know, with Division and Destiny. That surprised me. I wasn't expecting this game to be so ambitious, and when you see the trailers for the game, you realise there's a lot more to the game than they're showing us in the demo. And the demo's a sizable chunk of gameplay. Like there's a lot here to get your teeth into. Like if the demo itself gives you a lot to play and there's a lot in it, that tells you that the rest of the game is probably quite large. There's a lot of content that we're going to get to enjoy. So, you know, if you're looking for a new looter shooter and you don't mind cover-based shooters, then this should definitely be on your radar. It's certainly on my radar now. I wouldn't say go out and buy this day one. I would never advise that at all. But I do think this is going to be a very good and enjoyable game with a lot of content for people to enjoy. But obviously, you know, I could be wrong. We need to wait for the reviews and check this game out. I wouldn't say it looks as good as, say, Destiny or The Division or even Anthem, but it still looks solid. Like there's a lot of detail in the environments, and as you can see from the visuals, you know, it is a nice looking game. Now at the start of the demo, in the prologue, there is loads of cutscenes. You're literally watching cutscene after cutscene. They're not badly done, they're very well done. I particularly like the animation of the characters and the expressions on their faces, and the dialogue's good. There's some funny lines in there as well. Little bits made me laugh. I do like the characters. I like them a lot more than I did in Anthem. There's a lot of camera shake. A couple of my mates online were saying that really put them off. Didn't bother me too much. All that stuff at the start, you know, it does set the game up well, but you know, I just wanted to get to the gameplay a bit quicker. But you know, don't let that prologue put you off. You know, stick with it. Now, cover-based shooters can be a bit clunky. Getting in and out of cover in the heat of the action, it feels like you're stuck to the wall sometimes when you don't want to be, and you know, but that's true of all cover-based shooters I've ever played. You know, maybe it's just me, I don't know, but when I've played Division and the Gears of War, I felt the same. But I think People Can Fly have done a very good job of it. This is probably the best cover-based shooter I've played so far. Now you can come out of cover and run and gun a bit. Like there's a tank character I played. One of the abilities, which is on a cooldown, allows you to harden and you take a lot less damage, and you can just run out with a shotgun and obliterate people. That was great fun. Now in the prologue, everyone calls you boss. Oh, you're the main man sort of thing, and you know, it's a bit cheesy. You know, it is what it is. Now the AI in the game does seem pretty sound. Enemies are doing flanking maneuvers. Another cool feature is that you can actually carry over your loot and gear into the main game. There are level caps in place to stop you from going too mad. So there really is no reason not to get stuck in and enjoy this demo. The demo's staying up, it's not going anywhere. Now enemies in the game have their own abilities that they can use against you, which is really cool. And you can actually stop them from using their abilities by using your abilities. But you can't just spam your abilities, because enemies can actually become immune to your abilities. So there definitely is, as I said before, definitely depth to the gameplay. My mate Stonk, he was using this really cool turret. It's a little mini turret that freezes enemies, and I was running around shooting them with my shotgun. So even though it is made as a cover-based shooter, there certainly is room for a bit of run and gunning, and I think that's probably why I enjoyed it so much. Now people have already found little ways to farm stuff in this game. There is a loot cave, yes, in the demo. There's a loot cave, and my mate Stonk, he was basically farming this loot cave, which basically just involves killing the same captain over and over again. You kill him, you die, you kill him, you die, rinse and repeat, and hope that a cool weapon will drop for you. Now Stonk, he got this really cool looking weapon drop for him after doing a lot of farming, but it looks really nice. There's definitely some sweet loot to be had in this game. There was a few little glitches here and there, some lip syncing issues I noticed, but nothing too serious, not for me anyway. On my PlayStation Pro it ran just fine. My mate Stonk, he was playing on a PS5, and during the prologue it did crash a couple of times for him, but there's been an update to the demo, so hopefully that's been ironed out. And I'm sure that People Can Fly are going to be hard at work polishing up this game before release, but they haven't got long. It's actually dropping on the 1st of April. Anyway, I'm really excited about this game. I think that People Can Fly, they're like the new kids on the block. I think that BioWare and like Bungie and other big studios are going to be looking at People Can Fly and thinking, well, no, we've got some competition here. and that can only be a good thing for us. So yeah, this is the best demo I've played for a long time. So yeah, I'm excited about this game. There's a lot more to it than I expected, and the trailers do look great. I think there's a lot more to this game than we've even seen in the demo. Definitely one to watch out for. Okay, so thanks for watching the video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye for now.
I'm finding that signal.